This is a testimony series, a telling of how the Lord guided my mom, Nancy, and I, Tati, to move from Chicago to Puerto Rico. It is our duty to share of every mountain He moved, every giant we've overcome, and every sea of water that we crossed. Hallelujah. Highest praise unto the Ancient of Days, the King of Kings, and the seven spirits before the throne. May all listeners give God praise. Let's conquer.
My amazing former landlord.
Shout out, Kathy.
Whoop, whoop. She ended up selling the home, which I was going to get a new landlord. I didn't expect to get a new landlord that fast. You know, I got to a moment where I started thinking, all right, what's my plan? Because I'm so used to having plan A through Z. And everything is my will, you know, and how I have it prepared in my mind.
Yeah.
I ended up asking God, like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I was stuck. I would say probably like a month later, my dad came to Chicago, and we're just sitting down and talking. And he had asked me, what am I going to do with this whole situation? I said, Dad, I don't even know what to do. He said, why not move to Puerto Rico? Puerto Rico was last in my mind. I didn't care to move here. I lived here during my teenage years. It just wasn't something I looked forward to do. Then I just stood there in silence because I'm like, okay, Lord, did you just answer me? So of course I was like, Lord, okay, what are you telling me? But because I am who I am and He knows how I am, I was ready to go ahead and find a no, you know?
Find a no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, okay, Dad, I got my dogs. What am I gonna do with my dogs? He said, bring them. Well, Dad, I don't need my dogs running around the yard. What am I gonna do? Oh, we'll put a gate. My dad came up with every solution. And I was like, he's not saying no. So then I said to my dad, I was like, if my job allows me to go, then I would go.
Surely I would know.
So what I just started was just asking questions.
Trusted employees, trusted friends.
I kind of dropped his name, but I was like, hey, if I go, I just asked, if I was to come to Puerto Rico, do I need any type of authorization because of working here or whatever? No, it's part of the U.S. I was like, okay.
And you're asking people that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, Lord, I'm looking for a no.
You're looking for it.
I'm looking for a no. Because I didn't want Puerto Rico. Like, my thing was Georgia. I was going to Georgia because I love the mountains.
You love Santa.
I love the peacefulness. I love the weather. Man, I came and I started Googling, and my surprise, the same year, in January, Puerto Rico passed a new law about an employer that they are in the United States and an employee resides here in Puerto Rico, they get some sort of tax credit, I'm like, alright.
So it's beneficial to your company that you work for.
Yeah.
That you work for.
So then, that's when I was like, okay. I called my dad. I was like, Dad, it seems like everything is going as a yes. I'm not not sure yet because I have to still come to my bosses and talk to them about it. You know, of course, I didn't share with a lot of people. I kept it to myself because it wasn't something that God wanted me to tell everybody.
Yeah.
It was something that was between us and certain people He allowed me to tell. You know, this, the voice was like, "What if your job says
The
no?"
enemy, the intrusive thoughts.
What if your job says no? Of course, in order to give that life, I would have to believe that lie.
Come on.
But I said, absolutely not. I said, let me tell you something, Satan. If they say no, I'm still going to go because it's God's will, okay? And no matter what, guess what? If this doesn't work out, He'll have something else for me. So
even if your job said yes or no, you were still willing to go.
I was still willing to go. Yeah. Which I don't regret.
Because you know the Lord.
Yes. So, I mean, I didn't understand what He had for me. I didn't understand why He wanted me to come over here.
Yeah. What in you said, this time I'm doing it God's way? Usually you're used to knowing your own way, right? However, what realization did you know that lets you think like, okay, I'm not doing my way no more, I'm doing God's way. It's okay. We need it.
I think it's my sister's situation. Her situation allowed me to put my feelings of what I thought to the side and seek Him more like never before. And I feel like her situation molded me and built me up to be patient and to trust Him. Okay?
Yeah.
So with her situation, I learned how to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Should we go into what her situation was?
Well, after my dad responded, or should I say the Lord responded through my dad.
Yeah.
Probably like a week later, we were already getting ready to leave to go to Florida because my sister, was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. I went out there to be with her because although she had this surgery, it ended up spreading. I was in my word every morning. I was working out there because I was on vacation. I was working out there. I was cooking for my sister. I was doing everything for my sister. My emotions I was trying to keep it together, I remember it was me, my dad, and my mom. We were in her outdoor porch. She came and she was like, the doctor said, the results would be spread to other lymph nodes. My parents didn't even hear anything. I just looked at her and it was like, ooh, I felt like my whole world caved in, because my sister's everything I ever wanted, because I didn't have a sister, but God blessed me with a sister. We just went in her room and we just started crying, I would seek God every day. I would run to the bathroom and just get on my knees and break down and just cry and pray for my sister and beg that God has mercy on her and just change everything. I didn't want to lose my sister. So I put my feelings to the side of this whole move to focus on my sister. It was hard. Because no matter how bad it looked, man, I know one thing is I trust His word. Okay? Not nobody's word, but His word.
Yeah.
And He would change it. He responded. And He changed His mind. And He healed my sister. And He healed her. And I was so happy to get heard.
We felt the mercy of the Lord. And we know that we serve a God who is merciful and full of grace. One of the greatest signs of His mercy and love in all of this is that my aunt, her husband, their children, and even my grandmother are faithfully seeking the Lord with sincerity. They've begun hosting prayer nights in their home. That is the faithfulness of our God. His love is sacrificial, enduring, intentional. But only He knows the purpose behind every joy and every sorrow we encounter in this life. Our sovereign God is intentional with all His children. And so I must acknowledge those of you who prayed with faith, who fasted, who sacrificed, who stood in hope, but still experienced loss. May this not weaken your faith, but restore it. May it not cast doubt on God's ability to heal, even if healing did not come the way you asked. My prayer for you is this: that your faith remains steadfast, that your trust remains unshaken, that you feel the Lord's nearness and comfort, that you abide in His arms and come to know Him as comforter. Finally, may you cling to this promise, the one that makes all our waiting worth it. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away.